Last night we saw one of the most shocking, disturbing, and saddening videos as Perez Hilton, a prominent blogger,
I didn't watch it.
Was live streaming himself engaging in extreme acts of self-harm.
Yeah, it's
For obvious
crazy.
reasons, we're not going to play the video, but because of the severity of this and the general message we want to get out there, we're gonna.
Yeah, I don't watch videos like that anymore. I used to, and it left me scarred. Charlie Kirk was the last time.
Going to tackle this story and give you the updates as to what happened. People magazine reporting Perez Hilton hospitalized after appearing to self-harm in disturbing live stream video.
It's so sad,
I'm
man.
going to describe for you the video, but I won't show you because they're too graphic. And last night on Timcast IRL, in the uncensored portion of the show, I pulled the video up. We did play it. Probably should not have, but I did not realize the severity because this was just a video that had appeared on X. And so
I'm
we had
so
heard
glad I wasn't on X last night.
Perez Hilton was covered in blood and doing something weird. And we were like, okay, well, let's pull up the video. It's the uncensored portion, right? We'll play it. And it was very, very disturbing, to which many people are saying demonic possession is real. Now, you can call it figurative, call it
That's
literal,
what I think, man.
But let me read for you the updates to give you the news first. And
I think it's the same shit that goes around Hollywood, but this one, it seemed like it reared its ugly head.
And I'll explain, for those that don't know, what this video was. People magazine reporting, Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office confirms to people that Hilton has been hospitalized with crisis response teams providing assistance to his family. Apparently, he was seriously injuring himself with a knife over and over and over again. We'll explain a little bit more, but let's read.
Yeah, that's some straight-up Return of the Living Dead 3 type shit. If you know, you know.
Perez Hilton was hospitalized on Tuesday, August 4th, after deputies with the Miami-Dade County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to his Florida home after the blogger appeared to self-harm during a TikTok live stream. After the video ended, graphic clips appearing to show Hilton covered in blood circulated on social media. Deputies were dispatched to the scene upon receiving numerous calls from concerned viewers who had witnessed the distressing live stream on social media. An MDCSO spokesperson told People. Upon arrival, deputies discovered he was alone inside the home at the time.
Of course he is.
Video.
Of course he was.
In many incidents
He's probably always alone.
Involving a person experiencing a mental health crisis or active...
Not trying to make fun of him or anything. I'm being real. Like, these people are lonely. The only people they have around them are other demonic freaks.
Harming themselves. Deputies prioritize de-escalation by creating time, distance, and opportunities for communication, the spokesperson for the MDCSO said. Unless there is an immediate threat to others, slowing the situation and utilizing crisis intervention techniques can reduce the likelihood of a suicide by cop encounter.
I wonder if it was drugs or if he just drove himself insane. I definitely want to hear from him when he gets better. But I want him to drop out of Hollywood, because holy fuck, dude.
And minimize the risk of injury to the individual, deputies, and the public, the statement added. While the assistance to Miami-Dade fire rescue deputies with the MDCSO helped transport Hilton to a nearby hospital for medical attention, the crisis response unit and licensed mental health professionals were also at the scene, providing support and resources to his family members. People has reached out to representatives for Hilton for comment. I do think it's kind of funny because it's a proper noun, people. People has reached out, because you'd be like, wait, it's plural. Hilton was hospitalized in Las Vegas with severe sepsis in March. In April, he said he was hospitalized again for a deep vein thrombosis in his right leg after a thrombectomy to remove a clot. And following weeks of bedridden, he shared a video of himself on his feet on April 7th. Now, with that being said, there's a lot to say here, and I want to I'll explain to you guys. In the video, Perez is nude and fully exposed, taking a knife and carving into himself over and over again while moaning sexual. It
happens all the time, by the way, this kind of thing, this exact scenario. It just doesn't happen with people that are known, like celebrities. Random freaks will do this, like on the deep web is where they usually would do it. Now they just do it in TikTok live streams, apparently.
Truly haunting.
And on Discord, that's a thing.
And horrifying to watch. Now, I have to wonder if this is not the first time Perez Hilton has done something like this, mentioning the sepsis or other issues. I wonder if this man has just been mentally unwell for some time. It is
no shit.
Just
yeah, welcome to the left.
Finally escalated to the point where he was carving himself up on camera. I would actually say it's strongly possible that he was actually causing harm to himself in other ways, just not visible, not on live streams.
Yeah, with drugs.
Some people have been complaining. Maybe not complain's not the right word, but there have been many people who are critical of law enforcement response because they refused to enter the home knowing that this man was harming himself and could potentially kill himself, but the police were completely 100% correct in this one. Guys, I know most of you know this because you've seen the videos. There is no winning a knife fight. It's not a thing, okay? No, don't get me wrong. Like 2 guys, each with a knife. And
Yeah, they wanted to get him out of there alive. Dude with a knife who is unstable like that could have just went on a stabbing spree, so they'd have to shoot him before that happens. And nobody wanted to shoot that guy. Like, if you know something like that's going to happen, why wouldn't you try and prevent it, right?
you're going to get a brutal scenario. But there, you see in these movies, right? What movies I just watching? There's like some movie clip where a guy's got a knife and then he grabs the arm and twists it and the guy goes and falls down. It's just not real. It's not real. There are a ton of viral videos explaining what you do when you encounter a knife and you run. You will be instructed by almost every single martial arts expert, every single professional fighter. You encounter a guy with a knife, run as fast as you can. There is no such thing as defending yourself against a knife. It's just not real. So when you have someone carving themselves up like this, and I'm not trying to be crass or anything, the police show up and the thought process is correct. If they try to enter the home and this person is they're unwell, their brain is dysfunctioning to the point where they're slicing up their bodies, what might they do to you? More importantly, could there be no intention of harm, but a potential threat? In which case,
or even like, let's even take out the threat scenario. Let's just say like they enter and he freaks out and he just puts that knife right into his own neck. Like, we don't want that. We don't want people getting killed unless they deserve it, I guess.
The police determined there's nobody in the building. Nobody's life is in danger. He may be harming himself, but if they go in, it will only make things worse. Why? You may say, yeah, but what if he kills himself? Yes, but if the police open the door and he presents a threat in any way, police are going to be forced to defend themselves.
Yep.
It will only increase the likelihood
there was like probably a million factors
that someone could be killed. In which case, the appropriate response, though it sounds crazy, to do nothing. It's to stand outside. Even the act of bullhorning, saying, please put the knife away, could agitate and make things worse. So there's no easy solution here. What I will tell you is a few things. I believe that social media is making people psychotic and insane. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I think this is. This is, it's brutal. What I'm going to say is, I think that this was sexual. I think that
definitely
that Perez,
part of it.
I obviously we would say it's a mental illness of some sort.
Once again, I will say that it was a million factors. It was being terminally online. It was being lonely, and it was being a freak, leftoid, hating America, hating everything, hating yourself, drug use, degeneracy. It was just all of the things.
It's something is happening. But what it's just hard to talk about. The video is so horrifying. But he's moaning sexually as he's carving himself up, moaning, naked, on camera. I think this is a man who, through the use of the internet and other, I would say probably, bathhouses and other, and I could be completely wrong. This is my opinion. In Chicago, they have a bathhouse. They call it a bathhouse. It's a sex house. It's a brothel where men can meet up for anonymous sex and drug use. Now, these bathhouses claim drugs are illegal. You can't bring them in. But guys show up and just have reckless, insane, gay activity. In these places, people engage in psychotic and insane behavior that I think the general public would be shocked to see. Now, it doesn't come to the point where they're carving themselves up to this degree, but I'm going to tell you this right now.
When it comes to Satan worship, cutting yourself, that's a big thing. And there's a lot of it in Hollywood, let me tell you. That's why they always have these satanic rituals up on stage.
I lived.
And they love degeneracy, and they lie all the time, and they love to push Democrat politics.
In Wrigleyville in Chicago. And Wrigleyville is right next to what's called Boys Town. It's like 2-3 blocks away. It overlaps, basically. The bathhouse is a few blocks away as well. I had friends who worked in, what's the BDSM, doming and subbing and things like that. If you're not familiar with that, subbing, so you know what a dominatrix is, most of you probably know. It's a woman who role plays with a man and dominates him in some way. What people don't know, most people, like a lot of people who know this, who follow this stuff know, but the average person doesn't know, there's also something called subbing. That is, there are people who want to dominate, and they will hire a man or a woman to be dominant. So you get a lot of this stuff. And the reason I'm bringing this up is not to be gross or morbid. It's that when I see this video, I see a man who likely, in my opinion, has driven himself pornographically insane. Okay, this matters to the state of the world right now with the internet, with how insane pornographic material has become.
Yep.
This is, I see this, and in my mind, I'm trying to be very careful.
I think pornography is what drove people into wanting to trans the kids, I think it is that same shit. It's all stemming from the same source. demons and Satan. And you could call me a crazy Christian, but it's fucking true. You can't deny it at this point.
Careful, because he could have just snapped, right? Maybe he just went crazy. But based on what we know about the guy, I'd give my opinion on what he was doing. I think he was trying to gratify himself. I think that there's a combination of, in the BDSM stuff, do cutting. They'll say, oh, we're going to do safe practices. We're going to sterilize everything. They go in and they say, I'm of sound mind, and they sign paperwork and they say, you can cut me, but, it's got to be light. We minimize scarring. People do this. You can hire people to cut and can hire people to buy because people get off on it.
I just saw a story where a woman really had the desire to be raped and tortured and murdered, and it happened, and they arrested the guy for doing it to her. She hired him, paid him money.
It sounds crazy, but people go online and they'll watch a video of like, let's neutralize everything. I don't want to talk about it in a pornographic sense. We can talk about it in a neutral political context. There is a guy, and he comes out and he says, I just plain don't like widgets. So somebody writes an article, anti-widget guy, says no widgets. Well, after people read that article, been there, done that. You have to one-up it every time. So the next day, wanting to chase the traffic, they write another article about the story, but they say, extreme. You got to keep adding to the story. Now he's the worst radical against widgets. And then 6 months later, they're posting pictures of him as, they're graphically editing him to make him look like a demon, and they're lying about him because they're making money. They're one-upping every time to maintain the addiction. Same thing is true for porn content. So you get a guy who likes watching BDSM, and this is, you're getting lightly whipped. No.
Yeah, and is also into that community. There's a whole community behind all of this shit. It's not just like the person is into it and that's what they're into. No, they're in a collective that's into it. And it just keeps getting more out of hand.
No actual long-standing physical damage.
I've looked into this very, very extensively, especially on Discord. And there's a culture that's trying to get children to do this kind of stuff to themselves. And it's fucking insane.
He enjoys it. He then goes to a dominatrix and says, I want you to whip. She starts whip lightly. No actual bruising, no damage, just like lightly, on the back. Then he goes harder. And, now he's got a bruise, but he likes it. The next time he comes in, he's got a one-up. He's more every day. Eventually to the point where he's like, I want you to cut me. And they're like, okay, we're going to sterilize the tools. There are legal limits. And so then he's getting cut.
Legal limits to cutting people for sexual pleasure. What the fuck are we doing?
Then he says, I want you to slice me up. And they go, I won't do that. So what happens? Chasing that addiction, you end up with, and again, this is a hypothetical, a person going in their house and just carving themselves up with a knife. Then you have the live stream element of it. Because some of these people like it when others watch. It's kind of like, I know people laugh at the idea, but this is real. People do this. But it's not even that. There's exhibitionism and voyeurism. So there's liking to watch and liking being watched. I don't want to get into all the finer details. My point is this. We are a sick nation. And I believe that the root of this is the desperation to chase sexual gratification. And we have seen, it's kind of interesting as it overlaps with body positivity and like GLP-1 and all that stuff. All these women are gorging themselves. They're eating whatever they want. They're slamming Ben and Jerry's. They're getting fat.
Or doing the opposite.
And then what happens? Well, they're chasing after that addiction and they're getting morbidly obese, and then they justify it.
Yeah, it's the same with people who refuse to eat, and they get skinnier and skinnier, and then people are like, oh, you look so pretty, and they're chasing that high. And then it starts getting worse because people are like, no, you look like creepy and death. And they're like, no, I need more gratification for my fans. I need to be skinnier.
Body positive, healthy at every size. You can be fat and healthy. It's not true. You can get sick. You can die. Then GLP-1 comes around. They can inject themselves and lose the weight. They do. And now all of a sudden, body positivity is gone. It's better to be. I think we see the same thing with perversion. They keep trying to argue that it's acceptable and okay because they're addicted to it themselves. They go online. They see weird psychotic things. They read 50 Shades of Grey. They get addicted to this stuff. They get addicted to extreme forms of self-gratification and just general gratification. And then when they see in the news, they say that should be allowed. Why? Because they want it and they want more. And where does it end? Again, I'll be very careful because I don't know what happened to Perez Hilton's mind. But it ends with people doing very, very serious and insane things, causing themselves permanent injuries, carving their bodies up, not like this, through surgeries to chase after that gratification. I think we are a sick nation. And I don't know that we are going to have this public conversation or admission from someone like Perez as to what this is really about. Now, by all means, it could just be that he's suicidal, depressed, so he decided he was going to carve himself up.
If he actually said what actually led him to this, then all of the people that love all this shit would probably kick him out of Hollywood themselves. He wouldn't have to just leave on his own, because they can't have any of this. They love this shit. They love when this shit happens because they're demons. They pretend that it's bad, but then they try and sweep for it, and they promote the shit that leads to this kind of thing happening.
But he was moaning sexually, and I believe that this is...
Yeah, if he comes out against all the demonic shit, they're going to kick him out. They're going to wish that he was dead, and they're going to take away all of his resources, all of his money. So he has to keep going through it until he dies. It's fucking insane.
Is all of this stuff that we see, like, in Illinois, a teacher was giving books to students that explained to them extreme and dangerous sexual activity. The police were called when parents found out what she was giving the children, and the left defended it. Liberals said it was just a book on LGBTQIA. They argued that sex ed means gratification, not reproduction. And so liberals were arguing to teach children about, I'm gonna say it, scat. Not kidding. The teacher gave children a book that explained to them what it means to feces, because it gratified some people. That's mental that you are disturbed. You cannot do. You will get.
Well, some people are into it. You can't kink shame, Tim Pool.
Sick, you will die. And this teacher gave 10 and 12-year-olds this book.
If these kids don't learn how to do all of these things and they figure it out themselves, they might kill themselves. What is wrong with you, Tim Pool?
And when we on Timcast and Timcast IRL said, guys, this is insane, the reaction we got from the liberals and the media was, you're bigots. Why? Because they like it.
Yep.
They're addicted.
Yeah, they're demons.
You go to an alcoholic and say, stop drinking, and they'll say, I'm fine, and they'll yell at you. You go to sex addicts and say, stop spreading this stuff, you're addicted, and they'll say, no, it's normal, it's LGBTQ, etc., etc. Sooner or later, we're going to have a conversation about the extreme things people are doing, chasing whatever this is.
I don't think we ever will. I think it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse until something crazy happens in the country and all these people just suddenly go away.
And people are going to have to...
or in the world.
They're going to have to reckon with what it is they've been promoting or ignoring. And that's the issue I take with most of these liberals.
Yep.
They don't care. Let me put it like this. We call out these disturbing behaviors saying, you do not give 10-year-olds a book explaining how to eat, or that people eat feces, you don't do this.
And it just, let's even go to the where I draw the line. That's way past the line. I draw the line with teaching kids about sexuality at all.
I'm not kidding, by the way. This is not a joke. Look it up. It's a book called This Book is Gay. Look it up.
Yeah. Yeah, if a kid is talking about being gay, say, you don't even know what that means. You're not gay. You are not allowed to even talk about that. And the left would be like, well, they should be allowed to talk about it because they will kill themselves. No. Nope. They can have their gayisms, but they are not allowed to actually be gay. That is just my opinion. Just like straight kids aren't allowed to be straight. And when I say that, I'm talking sexually, not with the like mannerisms. That is completely different. You can have kids that are not gay with gay mannerisms too, by the way.
I've had so many people say, I don't believe you. It's hard to believe. See, default libs, we call it, people who don't pay attention to news have no idea this is going on. Leftists and degenerates want it to be happening, so they will lie and defend it. And then the media will call the right bigots because it's what gets clicks. Otherwise, we're going to get more of this. I'm going to wrap it up there.
It's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse.
I want to talk about Jean Grey and how this version of the character is being perceived by the general public, because what I have found, and I've mentioned it several times during this episode, is that what Spider-Man Brand New Day seems to prove to me is that if a movie is made really, really well all around, certain elements that may not actually work upon second viewing don't actually bother people as much, because it's not about individual aspects of the plot. It's not about inconsistencies within certain characters' personalities. It's all about how the movie made you feel.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Jean Grey in this movie?
So I really like Jean Grey as a character in general, and this was quite a different. It was quite a different version of her than I think that I expected. I expected her
like
to be obviously on the younger side when we started getting the reports that Sadie Sink was being casted as her. I kind of figured that she was going to.
I like this new Spider-Man movie, but it is not even close to my favorite of the Spider-Man property. Out of Spider-Man movies, it's pretty good, but out of Spider-Man as a whole, it was meh.
Be more of a misfit. I didn't expect them to take this angle with her. I personally believed going,
it kind of leaves some plot holes. We'll get
into
into
the movie
it.
After a lot of time had passed, that there was going to be a different, bigger, baddie, and that she was going to help Spider-Man at some point. Maybe she was manipulated by a bigger enemy,
or
a bigger.
Yeah, the big bad ended up being just some dude.
Villain, and that she was going to maybe come to her senses 3/4 of the way through the movie
After she's done committed terrorism multiple times and killed a bunch of people,
and that they were going to sort of team up.
I thought okay, so here's the thing. From everything I've been told, the actor who plays the head of damage control is really, really good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
But they didn't give him much to do in this movie. He's there, but he doesn't go. He goes villain, kind of, but not full villain in any meaningful way. He does a little.
He's just a corpo, really.
Little bit at the end when Jean Grey is in the chamber and he's turning up the pressure and all that stuff. It's there, kind of, but compared to other villains of the past, it's not really fleshed out all that well. So you don't really feel like you're given this actual villain that fills in the gap there.
And they teased us with the real villains at the beginning of the movie, and then they don't ever really show again.
Thing is despite she has tons of stuff that is blatantly very, very villainous that needs to be answered for. So
she controls a man, and then he walks into a street, and then he gets hit by a car.
Yeah, I saw people that were like, well, you don't know what she saw in his head. He could have been a pedophile or something. Well, we don't know that either. They don't know that. They weren't thinking about that. They just had him kill a random old white homeless dude. And people are just projecting what they think the character could have been thinking.
I was shocked that Spider-Man, I know that he was having problems with his power. I understand he was having problems with his abilities, but I thought that he was going to save him and be able to stop him, because he did nothing but walk.
Dude, yeah, that was another thing people were saying. Well, he was having problems with his powers. Bro, they could have written it any way they could. It was just bad writing.
Around during that scene.
Doesn't get addressed again. Violates.
It kind of reminds me about how in Tobey's Spider-Man movies, when he's facing the Green Goblin throws one of his goblin grenades, and then he takes it and he whips it back. It's in the third movie when it's actually his son. It's not the Green Goblin that we all know, it's Harry. And then he whips it back. But in No Way Home, the same thing happens to Peter, and our Peter, the MCU Peter, Tom Holland Spider-Man, he doesn't react to it, and that's what kills Aunt May. So it's in that situation, I can't help but think, oh my God, these other Spider-Men, Andrews and Toby's, they would have had that situation handled regardless.
Yeah, it's just bad writing. Well, this is a different Spider-Man. I don't care. It's bad writing.
He would have thrown themselves in front of the car to break it and to push that man out of the way. But he doesn't, and that leads to this higher level of tension with Jean that I feel they didn't really need to do, because they didn't go all the way with it. It's the only real on-screen, assumed.
Yeah, I'm tired of having emotional villains where we have to be emotionally connected and we have to, feel bad for them in a way. Why can't we just have some evil fucking villains?
Death that we actually see, or this damage that she is truly causing to these people, because otherwise it's basically just threats that she could do something.
Okay, so the other thing that I was talking about, so the Christopher Nolan Batman movies did irreparable damage to how we perceive car chases. if nobody's seen dying, then I guess nobody died. Every time Tumblr went out and destroys half of Gotham and cars flip off bridges, guess no one died because Alfred comes in, I think in the third movie, goes, "You're lucky nobody," what does he say? It's like, "You're lucky nobody was killed last night," or whatever. Like, fine, whatever. I'm supposed to just buy that nobody died in any of those scenes, right? But you're telling me that nobody died in that tank scene. I don't think that any actual person's buying it. Then there's all sorts of the other stuff. Purple Man controls people or bends people to his will at Marvel, and he's a super evil dude. She violates Peter and MJ by, getting Peter to kiss her, and then...
Yeah, that was the thing that I hated. Out of the whole movie, I hated that the most. I saw it coming from a mile away. As soon as he grabbed her up and started flying around with her, I was like, yeah, she definitely got her mind taken over. No shot.
Whoops, and then throws MJ off the bridge or off the building and stuff like that. She doesn't do just like kind of villainous things. She like enjoys doing the villainous things.
She
and toying with Peter.
intends for something bad to go wrong, and she does not care.
Hulk
and
is never going to be the same.
Well, her sister died. Okay. If you're evil, you're evil. If you're not, you're not. Once again, it's bad writing. Because now they're going to make her a hero.
Right. But that's my issue is they didn't go all the way. And I wish that they had committed to a bit. Now, I question what their intentions were, like we were talking about a minute ago with the villain, is because...
I know what their intentions were. To make it look good.
It was rumored that Mr. Negative...
They didn't need to make it make sense. It just needs to look good.
Was going to be the big baddie of this, but Jean Grey was going to in some way be a part of this movie. She was just going to be introduced, but they threw that out. Now, in the movie, there are actually these symbols around that we do not have, that are like not addressed, and we don't have confirmation of, but that was assumed to be his symbol, but they cut that pretty close to the end of filming because they were like, this just isn't working. We want to put the focus on Jean Grey.
And they gave her redemption too quickly. And Peter excuses her too quickly after everything that she's done. They're basically falling into the WandaVision category where she's traumatized, therefore she can do horrendous things without any consequences being brought to her by the storytellers in this case.
Yes.
The best thing that they could have done here is that she surrenders herself to
I always think it's funny whenever people try and defend it and they come up with possible reasons for this thing happening, and I'm like, bro, just admit that they wrote themselves into a corner. They're just bad.
I was laughing because I was like, well, she can't be brought in by damage control because they're the baddies now, but she could turn herself in to prison and basically acknowledge that I'm here, my own benevolent nature is why I'm here, because I could escape at any point because I want to atone for my sins. And then Professor X comes in and says, you have a chance at redemption. You can either sit here and wallow, or you can come with me and actively seek your redemption, which, again, gives her a more active role and gets her out of prison. But that's a story we've seen 1,000 times in these types of things, where a character either surrenders themselves or has been brought in and then is, released later as a chance of finding their way back to humanity.
Yeah, I wish that they did that with her as well, where, she helps Peter, she keeps Peter alive and going and breathing, and then after that, she does turn herself in. I think that would have been, even though kind of standard, I think is the best way to say it, and sort of expected, I think that it is better than her just, leaving on a bus and saying bye.
The thing is like, this is a complaint people have in wrestling, which is like, you don't need to overcomplicate things. Sometimes the story that people are expecting is exactly the right story to tell because it's about how you tell it anyways, and that would have worked perfectly here in this story because every other element of this movie landed perfectly with people.
Mm-hmm, absolutely, and of course they wanted to let her off easy because she was a victim, because she was traumatized, she was wronged by the world, which I think was a very unfortunate thing for them to do because...
Yeah, it's just a character. It's a characterization. They don't know how to make actual people. They just know how to make characters.
They had an opportunity to actually end that movie in a way that really would have enhanced it if you saw her coming to her senses and changing and actively saying, no, I know what I've done. I want to sort of atone for that, and I want to be redeemed, but a longer road of redemption other than 5 minutes of like, yeah, I'm gonna keep him alive, I'm gonna keep Spider-Man alive, and then I'm just gonna leave on the bus, which is it's just so unfortunate. But I don't know if you had seen it, but there was a quote from Amy Pascal saying Destin Daniel Cretton is the reason Jean Grey was included in the movie and why they decided to keep her as like a major focal point of this.
No, what did she say?
So I sent it to you on X, or I can put it in the private chat. Yeah. But basically, she had said that we didn't pick Jean Grey because she was part of the X-Men. We picked Jean Grey because the director came in and said, if you guys want to do a movie that is about the way people feel isolated, even more today than ever, because of our technology and everything else, and not just young people, but everybody, but it has afflicted young people so much. If we can do a movie that is about how reaching out and making a connection to someone is the most important thing you can do, then I understand how to do this movie, and that's why they thought it would be a great idea for the villain to be a teenager. And
all of the things that are bad about this movie are virtue signals, or they stem from virtue signaling, that kind of attitude. And it's just so sad, because it could have been easily a 10 out of 10 movie, but the virtue signal stuff got in the way.
I don't necessarily disagree. I loved the angle of reaching out and trying to form that connection.
Yeah, but it's also, think about who's coming up with that storyline of reaching out, because the things that they reach out for, or reach out about, it just doesn't make any fucking sense, because it's just leftoid virtue signals.
I just thought that it was very rushed at the end.
Yep.
You have her going into Peter's mind, seeing Aunt May's statements, and then she decides, you know what, I want to be the better person, which was a good start.
I think they made a really flashy movie, and then we're like, all right, how do we end this?
I just feel like that ending was strange.
What I liked was in Arrow, when Oliver finally vanquishes Deathstroke to the island, they bring him back in season 5, and at that point the Mirakuru is out of his system, and he's horrified by all the things that he did while he was under its influence, and Oliver gives him a chance to actively work towards redemption rather than just staying in prison. I mean, they never explain why he's still so jacked, even though he's been living in a prison underground until...
It's okay.
It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
He just squats in the cell and, lifts the bed. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But that's the point, right? It's like they understood, even in a CW show, that the character needs to feel some remorse. And even though he was captured and turned in, of course, if you think about it, Argus is a bit like Damage Control.
Yes.
I mean, that or... I guess Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever. But the point is it's the same thing. It's a prison that can hold him. But her turning herself in would have been so much. And I wonder if some of these, they got carried away with, the anonymity of the character. Because a lot of the truly villainous stuff is before he knows who she is.
Well, they wanted that emotional reveal, even though most of the people I know that knew anything about this movie already knew that Jean Grey was going to be in it. Like, what the fuck are they doing? You can't do an emotional reveal like that in today's movies, in today's society. It just doesn't work. Unless it's a real one. If you're doing it as a fucking, trying to make people feel something, it doesn't work. If you're doing it as it actually makes sense for the story, literally could have just removed that from the story and it would not have changed the movie at all. If you can do that, then it doesn't need to be in the movie.
Right.
And then it was afterwards, then they have to immediately start walking it back and finding a way to make the character. And that doesn't happen right away. There's still plenty of times where she is Jean Grey and it's Sadie Sink and it's not just the.
Yeah, why doesn't she just mind hop through Damage Control and then to who she wants and then get the information she's looking for? Well, it's because she was actively... making the decision to cause as much chaos as possible because she wanted people to regret the decisions that they had made. She wanted the people at Damage Control to sort of feel her wrath.
But she also had a particular issue with Peter Parker because she couldn't get into his mind.
Right.
And she was like really, really sadistic during those scenes. I don't like. Let me see if I can. I grabbed a bunch of reactions.
Yeah, unnecessarily
of people
so.
who have their critiques of this, but there was one in particular from.
The pains of having 50 tabs open and
I
don't do
unfortunately
that.
needing them all.
I keep my tabs incredibly organized. I use tab groups, and if I have to have different tabs open, that don't fit in those groups, I make a whole new browser instance with new tabs, or new tab groups. I keep all of my shit organized. All of my files are organized on my system. It's not a mess over here. I might have OCD or autism or something. Not diagnosed, and I'm not diagnosing myself, so if any of that's true, then, oh well, I'm living my life.
From Thorius Unlimited, because this one is a little bit overlooked. It says, there's an overlooked moment in Spider-Man Brand New Day when Peter apologizes to MJ for kissing her while she was mind-controlled by Jean. He thought MJ had been in her right mind and he had the green light, but when he realized she wasn't, he immediately knew that she had been taken advantage of. In other words, Peter understood that this was wrong, which means that the movie understood that Jean's actions were messed up. The fact that Peter felt the need to apologize for something that wasn't even his fault because he was taken advantage of too, but Jean felt no need to account for that or any of the other bad things that she did, up to and including getting an innocent old man run over by a car and putting countless other people in danger.
Yeah, women, they can't take accountability, and people just let them get away with shit. There are memes about it. There are Facebook groups about it.
Only for the movie to gloss over all of that stuff like
Caleb Hammer's latest episode, there's a woman that legit is like this, where she can be weird and creepy and stalk men and stuff, but that's not a problem. It's only a problem if men do that exact same behavior.
It doesn't matter anyways. Says a lot about the character assassination that happens here.
Yeah, I mean, it is true because he does apologize even though he was a victim of this as well.
Also, there's something that one of my favorite nitpicks that people have is it's like me when I watch Superman pick up my car and throw it across Metropolis only to miss during a battle, and then they're like, I gotta buy a new car now. Like,
we need Avengers insurance if you live in New York. Yeah. Their destruction is crazy.
So, violates MJ and Peter's consent, relishes in torturing Peter, kills an old construction worker, throws MJ off a building which could have seriously hurt her, traumatizes the Hulk for life. That's not morally gray. That's a villain.
Yeah.
Sean Chandler, I like Sean Chandler's takes a lot. He's very measured. Says, if you have issues with the morality... somebody said, nothing proves the MCU fans have baby brains than the idea that a character can't be a hero after a villain origin. And he says... That's not him that said that. That's this person he's responding to. He says, if you have issues with the morality of Sadie Sink's character in the movie ethics, it's because you have a baby brain. Obviously, because babies and children are well known for debating morals and ethics, these responses are getting more condescending while making less and less.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one from Mahler, which I really like, because this person says, okay, but real talk. This is in relation to the guy getting hit by the cab.
Yeah.
It says, okay, but real talk. He probably had it coming. She knows your entire life the moment she takes over your body. She saw something. And he says, we have now reached the they had it coming part of the murder hobo mind rape discourse.
Yeah. It just, again, I wish that they had taken it farther. I wish that they had established her as either causing more damage and causing more chaos and being just more evil, even though she is quite unhinged in this. And then you actually know that she
My
is...
biggest qualm with her, other than the, kiss scene, but actually with Jean Grey, not just that MJ thing that was fucking stupid. The Punisher thing, whenever she takes over the Punisher, how is that not... was she just not pushed out immediately? I don't think that should have worked like that. I don't think that she should have been allowed to mind rape the Punisher like that. It just seems so ridiculous because he's so dead set on, killing criminals, being traumatized by his family being murdered.
In the long haul for a redemption. But I had reviewed the movie with Mahler on FNT last week. Our opinions are kind of different. I I know that he has a lot of criticisms with the movie, completely fair. I don't think it's a perfect film, but I still enjoyed the movie as a whole. I thought that it was pretty great just because Peter was great. His journey was spot on. I enjoyed the different
I think that it's in the top 10 MCU movies, honestly.
tones of the beginning when he is like in this deep depression and you see all of this time passing and him maturing and really seeing how his decision to give up his previous life and his friends happen versus the end where he finally takes a stand and says, yeah, I just can't live this way anymore, and nobody should be forced to live that way anymore. I enjoyed it.
I did too, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Jean Grey was a bit of a misfire.
And again, like I said,
she's such a cool character and she has so much possibility, and obviously they're going to use her a lot going forward. Sadie Sink is a multi-year, multi-film deal, so we're going to see her quite a bit, especially if the rumors are true about after the multiverse saga. It's going to be the mutant saga.
I'm for it.
We've got our Emma Frost as well, but
as long as they don't wokeify it, as long as they get away from the woke shit, but it's still Disney, so yeah, I can tell you that I'm not going to be paying for it. Yo ho, yo ho.
And like I said, it is proof that what really matters is how what the movie leaves you feeling in a lot of ways, because you can overlook a lot. And I'm one of those people, like, I'm not the nitpicker with stuff when I watch movies. Like, for the most part,
well, nitpicker, you almost made me think you were saying something else.
It's like people will point out critiques afterwards, and they're totally valid. Like they'll point out inconsistencies in the story, and I'm like, I didn't notice it, or that didn't bother me. Those things usually don't.
Walking out of the theater, it matters if you enjoyed yourself and you got entertainment value. I walked out of the theater and said, I'm going to rewatch that soon, and I definitely will.
I probably won't.
A movie doesn't have to be perfect.
I'll watch it if I'm doing a Spider-Man marathon or something. I'm not going to include it in an MCU marathon. I do that every once in a while, but I stop at Endgame.
In order to walk out of a theater feeling fulfilled. I think that over the years, us comic book fans and superhero fans have definitely had a rough time. Yep. And while I still don't think this movie was perfect, I still think that it was better than a lot of the content we've been getting recently.
I'm still eating good as a Spider-Man fan when it comes to the movies, at least. They still haven't really... They haven't got me on the cartoons. Still my favorite cartoons, just, they got absolutely fucking destroyed. Like Spider-Man Unlimited, Spectacular Spider-Man. It's just so rough to be a Spider-Man cartoon enjoyer. And the latest video game, I love Spider-Man video games, but I was out on that gay slop.
In 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, Bob!
What?
Are you okay?
What was that?
Oh, well, Bob!
It's a Gundam.
It is.
He's just a
legend! The WNBA is a joke. If you watch clips from the games, you'll quickly find that the boys' high school basketball team, on average, is a better display of skill.
The only thing that I find entertaining about WNBA is the social media posts about it and the people who are making money off of their failures.
3 or 4, there you go.
And let me tell you, the betting market for WNBA is insane.
Ooh, deeper, come on now.
When you see women wearing shirts saying,
pay us what you owe us,
while the league itself loses millions of dollars a year, and you watch a woman double dribble her way to the basket without the refs doing a damn thing about it, it's shocking. Hell,
how do we make it more interesting? I know, let's add a bunch of men who are pretending to be women. They're actually fucking freaks. But let me tell you, it's going to be way more entertaining than watching WNBA.
I've seen Neon cook a WNBA pro player. Neon, the dude who's stuck in a 12-year-old boy's body, for Christ's sakes. Hell, Playboy Max Cardi, whatever the hell his name is, the dude is like 5'6", and he beat a 6'9" pro female basketball. It's no wonder that people only pay the WNBA attention when there's drama involved. The one sport women excel at.
Like Dildogate, where people were launching dildos on court. It was the most fun everyone's had with the NBA.
See the object, the block right there.
I remember that.
The object comes, that green thing bounces.
Yeah, the only time I ever see anything from WNBA is whenever some crazy shit happens. And it's not coming from the WNBA, I'm giving my ad revenue view to whoever posts the clip, not the actual WNBA.
and it goes to the sideline. We're not exactly we're not sure where it came from. No room for any of that type of...
Now we're in the Sophie Cunningham arc of the W. Basically, she pointed her finger at a black player, which was a cardinal sin apparently. White women in the WNBA are to be seen and not heard. They are to placate and talk about how black women have moved the sport forward.
With the life that I have now, as a white woman who leads a black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve.
Stunning and brave.
Trust black women, they lead the way. Trust black women,
What the
they
fuck?
lead the way. White women, stop abandoning your sisters.
Great
Maybe
writing
occasionally
right
get
there.
knocked around. Such is the case with Caitlin Clark, the most hated woman in the WNBA because she
I hear we got a new Caitlin Clark.
isn't total dog shit.
It started in 1996. First games played in 1997. It's 2024, and we're just really now talking about it. And so if Caitlin Clark is the vehicle that will bring this sport that I have loved so much and so long to
I
little
bet you
5-year-old
have.
girls playing in Harlem, I say yes, bravo.
I think she loves it in the background. She doesn't fucking watch WNBA. Are you serious? Get out of here with that shit.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. With that being said, I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege.
Nice argument, Senator.
What
Why
the
don't you
fuck?
back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the f up.
Like, I don't know what the hell that woman's smoking. Caitlin Clark looks like Shroud, unironically. I take it back. She looks like Kevin McDonald in the hall.
Called pretty privilege.
Anyway, Caitlin Clark gets knocked out.
She's actually saying that white women are prettier than black women right there. That's fucking hilarious.
And again, this happens all the time. And then Sophie Cunningham began to start pointing at a black woman. And this woman, I will admit, had the nicest weave on the court.
That must have been an Asian in her head.
Hurry up and fight!
I was just kind of pointing, and she's like, don't you point at me. And I was like, oh, shouldn't have said that. And I didn't say a word.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, we
Sophie
need to protect
pointing
this woman.
while the black woman crashed out was incredibly
Hell
funny.
yeah.
It then inspired memes that swept the internet in early July.
This is the most interesting thing to happen. Still, though.
The meme basically took off massively, making Sophie Cunningham a huge star almost overnight. She goes to girls' camps. All the little kids run up. They want to take pictures with her pointing. It was a white girl summer, children.
You guys have a point, aren't you? Buddy, I can do it too.
Fuck yeah.
She was a ring girl for the UFC fight with Colin McGregor.
Where he came
I didn't
back
know
and
that.
took himself out with like 5 seconds. And a waste of...
Oh,
The
yeah,
WNBA
that
Players
happened.
Union will not allow brands to monetize Sophie Cunningham's pointing due to the rules against profiting off of player conduct from a confrontation between our members.
What? Imagine if the NBA blocked the iconic Jordan silhouette on his shoe. I'm not saying she's on the level of Michael Jordan, but I am saying that silhouette on shirts probably could have made a lot of money for her.
Yeah,
hell,
missed
even
opportunity.
The WNBA by proxy.
Cash, oh, fuck you, this is what it is.
Which apparently desperate for money. But per is
Yeah, they keep shooting themselves in the foot, though.
usual. It's run by retards that don't understand how capitalism works and how to...
Well, they don't like capitalism is the problem. They think that everybody should be giving the WNBA money. Every single person, probably tax money.
Anyway, she puts out some
Let's take all the money from the billionaires and give it to the WNBA.
shoes, and they sell out instantly. They skyrocket in price and value.
But not her. Not her.
On the secondhand
Just the
market.
black
Why?
people.
I don't know. These are some ugly
And the trans people.
ass shoes, but it doesn't matter. The kids love them.
This is the ultimate white privilege.
They only love them because it's marketed to them, by the way. They don't actually know anything.
We've never seen an inconsistent role player get a shoe. Literally, the biggest thing she's ever done was
Like, my 10-year-old nephew was looking at some light-up Minecraft shoes. Like, come on.
pointing at a black woman.
Then the alphabet people got into the mix. Sophie did an interview with ESPN where she didn't support transsexuals in women's sports.
Lover or hater, Sophie Cunningham won't be ignored.
Now let's skip all the crap.
I got a lot of negative feedback about me hating trans, and I'm like, I never said that. I think that I'm here to extend love, but I also think with that love is truth, being honest. And I want to protect young girls in the locker rooms or young girls in sports who shouldn't have to go against biological men.
Damn.
I'm very much in the middle. I agree with some things on both sides, disagree with things on both sides. And that's all I've ever said about my political beliefs. But you people love to assume.
Later on, she doubled down when she was questioned about the ESPN article.
I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's little girls who are also involved in the category. I stand on what I said.
Hate crime. Hate crime.
And with that,
Yeah, every job that a trans person takes is a job that a woman's not going to have. Which, I don't know how I feel about that, honestly.
she was a big.
Basketball's new anti-trans MAGA poster girl, Sophie Cunningham's firecracker stance against men and women's sports has caught Donald Trump's eye.
Message Sunday, 7:48 p.m.
This is Donald J. Trump. I just called to let you know, Gundam. Sophie Cunningham has very, very nice legs. I love them. Long, lengthy,
Okay.
delicious. But the poor thing, she doesn't have an ass. She doesn't have a butt. You know, I saw her sit down on the bench in the WNBA game, and the poor thing slid right off of the bench. It was very sad. She has a body like an Asian woman, but the legs of a guy. Okay, I gotta go. I ran on the other line.
Sophie Cunningham is Riley Gaines 2.0 times 10 more bigoted and transphobic despite looking like an actual trans herself.
Oh
I love
my
how the trans
God.
community is now using looks like a trans person as an insult now.
This jersey used to represent someone.
Yeah, that's why they get mad whenever you say Dylan Mulvaney is a woman and you compare other women, like biological women, to Dylan Mulvaney. They'll be like, you're just a bigot.
Respected as an athlete. Today it represents something I can't support anymore. Sports have the power to bring people together, but when someone uses their platform to demonize or marginalize an already vulnerable community, I have to decide where I stand. So today I'm not burning a person, I'm burning my support. As a trans woman, I've spent years fighting just to exist authentically. I won't spend $1 or another minute or another ounce of energy supporting people who contribute to making that fight harder.
Is this satire or is this real? I can't tell.
This isn't about hate, it's about accountability. My money.
Can you imagine how many lives this is going to be saving? Kids, young queer folk.
The Alphabet Squad started protesting her games in Portland, which is a hellhole of a state, and I'm saying this New Yorker.
Sophie Cunningham was heavily booed in Portland. She knocks down a 3 and calls the crowd losers. Trans activists thought they could imitate Sophie Cunningham, blah, 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 blah. They flooded the stands with trans flags and booed loudly when she took the court. Some started making out as a form of protest against her. Comments about not wanting men in women's sports.
That's like, gonna make out with my partner, take that Sophie. Like, this chick don't care.
Protect trans women! 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 Protect trans women!
Uh-oh, he's stuck in a goy loop. He's goy looping.
early in the morning, sir! This is too early!
Hell, nobody else cares. Dude, I don't even know. The video, there's like 2 groups of people protesting. I guess there's people protesting for Cunningham, and then there's the trans people protesting against Sophie Cunningham.
What are these losers doing, man? This is what they're doing with their lives?
At the end of the day, this is peak jobless behavior.
Right?
I love seeing the normal people.
Or they're getting paid for it.
People in the background pretending like they don't see the protesters, just getting on with their lives because you don't want to be pulled into this meaningless minutia. They were giving these
oh boy.
Protesters the same dismissive look that only the homeless people of Portland know. And then the New York Times put out some sort of article on a chick called Kate Noah, and I quote,
none of those people looked real.
Shredded Sophie Cunningham. I don't even know this chick existed. The fact that this is actually someone that SiriusXM pays shows the clear void of interesting radio personalities they now have. No wonder they hold on to Howard Stern like grim death. This is why everyone watches streamers. No matter how scripted streamer content has become, the alternative is boring radio hosts overpaid to be mid.
In many contexts, but I think the most recent one was when she...
Man, how do I get paid to be one of these radio hosts? Oh, that's right. They will never get somebody like me because I won't listen to their bullshit and I won't push their bullshit.
She, barefoot contested her way across the...
You have to be willing to lie for Hollywood to be a part of Hollywood.
UFC octagon at the Conor McGregor fight. A guy who has been found, make sure I get the words right, Brady, civilly civically liable. He's
Holy
been
shit.
found liable for both assault and sexual assault in a civil court in Ireland for an assault and
The real question is,
Okay.
does that happen to a Sophie? Absolutely. Is she guilty by association just by showing someplace? This is female logic. It's best.
Issue is one we've talked about a lot on Casuals. I hope
And also, he wasn't like criminally charged, you know? We don't actually know what happened.
by now, if you listen to this podcast, you're aware
I
of
mean, I don't care. I don't like Conor McGregor anyway, but still, just as an extension of how the fuck does this have to do with anything?
my stance and on what I believe is our stance on this issue. It's just very frustrating because the people who seem to be controlling the conversation are the people who are using this as some sort of a political hot button topic, that it behooves them to blow this out of proportion to seem like a bigger issue than it is.
Kind of like what you're doing right now.
Right,
Most
that's what I was about to
people who
say.
are holding our feet to the fire over statements that ultimately don't matter if you're.
Yeah, nobody cares.
That it seems logical and obvious to them.
Who is watching this?
They're not anti-trans person, which it just says hating trans, which isn't what you would say if you consider them people. You're forgetting the people. You're just using the
Yeah, I don't see them as people. I see them as fucking animals.
descriptor. I don't hate trans people. And that might seem like a little thing to you, but to me that's the distinction, is because you are forgetting
You are looking way too much into this because you are a politically captured freak.
you're talking about people.
That's how you know she's going on her soapbox right now. If she's really dealt with people, you'll find that some of them don't answer to normal gender heteronormative norms or some shit like that. They're like, oh, I'm a Z-zer, I'm a they, them, I'm a N. So when you try to just say people, even then, there's a shot you're saying something that would offend them. Because you, honest to God, don't know what gender or pronoun or NB they want to be called, for God's sakes. And let's not get into the puppy kitten south.
Little girls to have to go against biological men, because on its face that sounds like something is common sense. It's not what anybody's asking for. Nobody is saying we should get rid of, for example, the WNBA and the NBA, and everyone should just compete together. Prized about
Well, that's legit what you're doing, though. Actually, that's not even true. You're going to have the men's NBA, and then you're going to have the WNBA that's full of women and freaks.
my beliefs. A lot of people like to think I'm right wing, and I'm not. I believe all different things, but this to me just seems like common sense. All you're telling us, Sophie,
All you're telling us is that if you do not follow the leftoid values to a T, you will be considered a MAGA chud right-winger.
is that you don't really have critical
Nazi
thinking
bigot.
skills, or that you aren't interested in employing them.
Well, that was an illuminating bit of word salad. It perfectly encapsulates the usual progressive argument tropes by pretending she didn't understand a word Sophie Cunningham said like she was another language, while also telling Sophie Cunningham that she needs to educate herself and that she should be ashamed of herself for being at the UFC fight because Colin McGregor was there. Okay, what do you want Sophie Cunningham to do, for God's sakes? You're like, you want to be a ring girl? She's like, cool, whatever, hangs.
Yeah, the more that they talk about her like this, the more that they do this stupid shit, the more famous that Sophie Cunningham is going to be. She has transcended WNBA, and they can't handle it.
He's out, takes some photos, big laughs, everybody has a good time. No, she should have protested that, I guess. And even
Oh, man, this is the comeback for the blue-eyed, blonde-haired white women. Am I right?
if she did, you'd still be pissed off at her. Not to mention accusing Sophie Cunningham of trying to placate to the far right. Like, bro, the far right calls her a mud shark because I think she's dating a black dude. Like, this is how the progressives lose people.
You have Cheryl Reeves, the coach, wearing a shirt that says trans kids belong. They say that Sophie has aligned herself politically conservative because she has stood by the slogan of protect women's sports. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. If protect women's sports is deemed political like they say, then so is trans kids belong. The league often says they have a problem, people like Sophie bringing politics to sports. The league doesn't have a problem with politics. They have a problem with conservative politics in sports.
They cast them out.
Not even that. They have a problem with non-leftoid politics in sports.
Into the ether for a difference of opinion and then call them the biggest monsters that ever existed. And you know what's bad when Bill Maher and other political pundits from the left are starting to turn their back on the Democratic Party because it's being overrun with communists.
I am not
How
going to be
about
in the
that?
same party.
We told them. We tried to warn them that they were communists and it was getting worse because they're not hiding anymore.
With Hassan Piker. I can tell you that right now.
They're still kind of hiding things that they believe in because they're not allowed to say them online. But let me tell you, they do believe that anybody who's not like them should be killed.
If he becomes a force in the Democratic Party, I'm out of here.
This all reminds me of J.K. Rowling. That woman is on board with everything else the progressive left is shooting for, but one thing. And that one stance she drew the line in the sand for has made her a Nazi and a social pariah for the left. And I guess basically, my point is nobody cares about the WNBA.
Dude, you should see the insane things that people have been saying to me because I've been posting clips of Shoe on Head. They're talking about how she has become a MAGA fascist.
Sort of drama. And usually that drama centers around two white women, which makes the black lesbians really angry.